Oh, thank you, shell, but not thank you, banana.
フィドレーピークフィードラン。
Oh, thank you, shell, but not thank you, banana.
ホーリー20万ツバットマン、ライフ、イズビジーパーオールウェイズソードロッピングインツー聖杯。
Audio check. And thank you, Super Bubble, for 33 months at Tier 3. Very much appreciated. And Doc Jones, 20 months. Holy 20 months, Batman. Life is busy per always, so dropping in to say hi. Alright. Hello, Key Sky, Dave, Super Bubble, Tim, Ollie, Mumsy, Doc Jones. Lagamoof. Did I get everybody? I don't know. What do you think, Steph?
Oh.
We'll assume I got everybody. I need a lozenge. My throat already hurts. It's a good sign. Can I do this to put in the... How is everybody doing today? Hello, Spacey. Oh, my cushion. Last second cushion readjustments. I don't know. I don't know if I made it worse or better. That's how I feel about my slippers too. I bought those new slippers and every time I put them on I'm like, do I like them? Do I not like them? I don't know. And then I take them off again because I don't know if I want to return them or not. So I can't really like wear them to get comfortable with them because I'm like, do I want to return these? Hello, Cog Smite. But yeah, basically I'm going to harass Steph for a bit and we're just going to talk about the Garage Terrain stream project thing that's probably going to be like 3 streams instead of 1. This is why like all the Subathon stuff keeps snowballing, because it's like we can't do this in 1 stream. It's going to take like at least 3 streams. So even though it's like, okay, the list is dwindling, like some of the things that are left on the list are going to take like 10 streams, you know? So it's like, better get going. Let's do the first out of 3 at least, you know? This is the easy one. We're not actually going to accomplish anything. It's mostly going to be talking and playing with garbage.
I feel like the last one might be the easiest one, because it's just slapping paint on things.
Yeah, for you. Hello, Athena. Hugs, Athena. Hugs, Mumsy. But yeah, we've got 2 very big boxes full of... I'm going to say garbage a lot. It's recycling. It's not garbage, it's recycling. But garbage is funnier. So yeah, 2 big, 2 plus very big boxes of recycling and stuff. So... and we'll talk about some of the like concepts we've got, some of the plans we got, what we're thinking about, what some of the problems might be. You know, we got a lot of things we can talk about. I really need to change that button because it always confuses me. Also, I have a towel. Hello? I have a towel down underneath a mat just in case, because I know some of these things probably still have like liquid in them. Oh, it doesn't like not having something to focus on. But yeah, so... also, I don't have my normal overhead light on. I have a different light on because I figure that way we'll be less likely to give ourselves a headache. Yeah, we'll be talking rubbish then. Good one, Dave. Oh no, Doc. Trasher. Yeah, Trasher. Okay. Alright, so... what do you want to do first? Do you want to discuss ideas? Oh, yeah, we also have wipes and paper towel just in case we have any issues. And we have a bucket. The bucket's beside you. Because most of these things have been at least somewhat rinsed or washed, but some of them, especially the stuff that has like soap in it, you know, some of them, they still have liquid in them, but it's like clean liquid. But we'll need to like, basically that's a lot of what it is going through what we have.
Stop Googling Mumsy.
What? Oh no. Yeah, no. Yeah, stop Googling Mumsy. Just hang out with us and giggle at things. I thought you were saying stop giggling. I'm like, no, don't stop giggling. No, Ollie, no. Just hang out. We're talking about garbage. So yeah, basically the garbage terrain, that was... Which tier was that one at? Let me look. I need that. I need that information. Garbage terrain was... Oh, that was for 425 subs. You remember that? It's one of the lower ones we haven't done yet. That was subvote 3. What was subvote 3 actually? What were the other options? I don't remember because this fucking behemoth of a this document has gotten out of control. But yeah, garbage terrain 425. It was subscriber vote number 3. And the concept is basically I'd been watching a lot of YouTube videos where people make terrain out of like recycled materials, and I was like, oh, that looks like fun. So I put it on the list.
I mean, I used to do it a lot more when I was younger, but
that's the thing though. Like I sorta, kinda. Here, you can get your arm in here. We can pretend we're talking. We both have layers on. You've got your...
I've got 3 layers on.
Oh, you've got 3 layers on. I have this... Tim just got me this hoodie for like 11 pounds. And it actually goes to the end of my wrists. So, you know. It's like a 3XL. Anyways, yeah, so basically a garbage train... Don't pick your nails! Garbage train and stuff. It's just you know, like for wargaming and tabletop stuff and like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons and all that kind of like RPG stuff. Basically anything that's got like a physical game kind of aspect, they do a lot of this kind of stuff. Mostly because a lot of the terrain that's like released in stores is garbage. Or not great. Or like doesn't really, it's not very unique or creative. It's very like, here's the flat walls, here's the flat floor.
I think the main issues a lot of the companies run into that I've seen people complain about is it's either flashy and not practical, or practical and boring as fuck. Yeah. They can't seem to get a decent balance between.
Well, and even like some of the concepts I came up with, I don't even fucking play. You know, I do own armies, but I don't think I played like 2. No, Keys Guy. I've only probably played like 2 fucking games of Warhammer, but I own like 3 armies, and I think I own like 2,000 or more points of 3 armies. Like, yeah, I go all in when I go into something.
Probably more now if you were to try and work it out.
That's the thing, right? But you know, back then even, like, I used to buy stuff, and I would, like, glue it, and I would, like, scrape I liked scraping the sprue flash stuff off. I liked gluing things together. But then I was too chicken to actually, like, paint anything, because I was too worried to fuck it up. You know, and then, like, so same kind of thing. Like, I owned a lot of that stuff, but I never, like, did the thing. So I didn't, like, build terrain. I didn't play the game. I didn't paint my armies. I would just, like, buy things and then be like, I own things now. And then, like, I would do, like, concept up, like army lists, you know? Like, I liked, like, theory crafting.
Yeah.
Army lists, or, like, same, like, Magic the Gathering. I used to come up with, like, weird, dumb, like... Because I would just have, like, the off cards that somebody else didn't want. And I would come up with, like, stupid army lists. Because I'd be like, oh, this card's really cool. And it goes well with this card. I'm going to make a dumb... Like, I'm going to make a whole deck about this card. You know?
My problem is I'm a collector. Which is why I have several varying armies of sizes for several different game systems that I never play.
Yeah, but you actually paint yours and stuff, and like display them and like enjoy them.
Yeah, because that's the part of the hobby that I enjoy for me.
Yeah.
Like I said, I used to be a lot more interested in trying to like make unique things and make the terrain and stuff like that, but then I started working and I got lazy and I just bought kits.
Well, and a lot of it too is just like, what do you like? How do you store this? And like, if you don't actually play games, what are you fucking doing with a box of terrain? I don't know. But
that's
I think
that's
it's
the
cool.
other thing, because I've always been the person that collects it. Everyone else has that passing interest, so it's always my stuff that gets used, and especially like my brother and things,
Well,
or
yeah.
even crazy.
Because you can run multiple armies, so you
Yeah.
can play, like, you could be like, oh, we need like a 300 point, like 3 different armies, done.
Yeah.
Oh, you need like 1,000 point, 3 armies, done.
I'm
We
like,
need,
I'm like the DM who can't be arsed DMing.
yeah, well, I was
Um,
gonna thought you were gonna say the dealer of the plastic crack, but yeah.
No, because I keep it to myself. But so basically, I don't tournament play, so I don't min-max anything. I like all the things because that's why I like to collect it, because it's all different. So I collect all the different armies and stuff. But because I always knew that I was the person that would have the armies if people wanted to play, I kind of like would focus on buying things that would complete armies or whatever for like technically legal games and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I have so much different things. But yeah, with like the terrain and stuff like that, it does come down to the fact that it's just easier to throw out some plastic terrain that can do something. You don't have to worry about storing it or anything, because you can throw it in a drawer.
Especially if you buy a kit and then everyone's just like, this is how you paint it, this is how you put it together. So you're like, okay, cool. And then even if you do a shit job, you're like, well, I was following the whatever. You know, like there's less emotional investment. It's not like, oh, I built this from scratch. You know, like this was my concept. Like I slaved on this. It was like, nah, just, you know, it's a terrible word. I should never use it again. But like what I'm saying is like even this kind of stuff, because I used to, like when I was in fucking college, because I went to college and completely just wasted all of my time there. I feel like I went into it with like a high school mindset, because I was very like, how can I get like approval from the teachers with the least effort possible. But anyways, like some of the projects and stuff, we would end up with like that foam and stuff you see people cutting on YouTube all the time. Like, and I took that home with me and I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to use that. I'm going to make some, because at the time I already had some armies and shit. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to make some shit with that. I never even touched it. Like, never even, like, literally this was free garbage that somebody gave me to make shit out of. And that's the thing is, like, this is part of my problem I've had my whole life. And part of, like, what Minecraft, not to become a Minecraft thing, part of what Minecraft, like, kind of helped me somewhat get over is just the fact that it's, like, I can never do anything because everything I do will be, like, a detriment and, like, a negative. And it won't be, like, I'll be just making, like, I'll be wasting it. So it's like, I'm never gonna do it. But especially stuff like this, like basically what the long story short, what I'm trying to get around to here is, hello weatherman. Long story short is, this is all stuff that's gonna get recycled anyways.
Yeah.
So it's not a waste. And if it turns out terribly, you know, it might not be able to go into recycling anymore, but we can still get rid of it in a different bin. But you know, like the whole point is that it's not. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be creative. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece, but like, there's nothing stopping us from just gluing some shit together and painting it and going, oh, that didn't work out the way I intended, but, you know, I had fun doing it. And that's what this is, basically. This isn't a fucking masterclass. This is two idiots. Well, are you an idiot?
Pretty much.
All right, two idiots just playing with some garbage and putting it together, and some of these two idiots may have watched way too many tutorials to fall asleep. So, but today we're basically going to talk about like some of the ideas, some of the concepts, like because I came up with like 10 concepts of different like things we could build. I think you had a different idea you were going to do maybe. And then we'll just go through some of the garbage we have and maybe start trying to think about like which of the concepts we want to build and like what pieces of garbage would be cool for that, and then like kind of like basically make like a short list of supplies, because right now we have 2 ginormous boxes and that's going to be way too overwhelming to just sit there and try and glue pieces together. You know, it's better to be like, okay, like this would be cool, this would be cool, this would be cool, and then like the next time we do this, basically like for now this is like brainstorming concept and the tiniest emote. Oh, it was the pop one. I was like, what the fuck? Sorry. I was like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, concepting, planning, and then like kind of like making a short list of like pieces that we think would work well, and then we can still have like the back catalog of garbage to, you know, be like, oh shit, I saw a piece like that, I totally want that. See, look how tiny it is. No. It's on my bed right now. There's 2 huge boxes. But yeah, and then the thing with this project is that there's kind of like stages of prep work. So we can pick out the stuff we like now, and then like off stream we could like, you know, do some, oh god, stop blurring. Do some like preliminary, just something like that. We do some like preliminary like cutting and stuff, like cutting pieces apart, breaking off the pieces we don't need, and like thoroughly washing anything that needs to be thoroughly washed. And maybe like do a little bit of sanding or something on some of the pieces that we think might need a little bit of sanding, you know? So like the preliminary kind of stuff. And then the next stream, we can basically try to make the pieces into like one object.
Yeah.
And then that one object will need some prep work before we can paint it and base it and stuff. So then the third stream, basically between the second and third stream, we can like put like a base coat on and stuff so that like cardboard doesn't get soaked through and plastic doesn't melt when we try to, you know, paint it and stuff. And then the third stream, hypothetically, this is my process plan. The third stream hypothetically would just be actually painting it and like putting like fake grass and rocks and shit on there.
Yeah.
How's that sound to you?
Like a lot.
No! It's spreading it out to like approachable, finishable. Instead of like, can you imagine trying to do that all in one stream?
Yeah.
No! It's way too much.
Yeah, I can. Well, no, I'm saying like I can imagine it.
Ah.
I'm not saying we should, or at least even try. But like I can imagine doing it.
Well, thank you, Shell, but not thank you, Banana.
How much does my baby weigh?
Hi, Hummus Rod. Thank you for 9 months. Oh, that's why you said how much does my baby weigh. I was like, what the fuck? Does this look like a weigh scale? Is it because there's like a towel in here? Like, what's going on here? I don't know, Steph. How much does your baby weigh?
Same as a tier 1 sub.
Oh. Hey, Metas, dear. Anyways, let's play with some garbage. Do you want to play with garbage first, or do you want to like talk about concepts first? Or do you want to do both?
I can in that. Like every time anyone mentions anything about pregnancy or anything, I can't help but hear that stupid video.
Oh, I've never seen it, so I'm glad.
It's one of those try not to laugh things, I think. Basically, it was every weird, dumb way that people have misspelled pregnant.
Yeah, I've never watched any of those you laugh, you lose things or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely a lot of variety. I also have several armies, or if I want to try and go more generic, then I have basically 2 game systems to try and consider. So I was basically just thinking of being lazy and doing some basic industrial
tower thingy
orc thing.
And now what are you thinking? Or are you still thinking that?
Well, I did kind of consider doing maybe some kind of generic fantasy
kind of
build, but
it's going to be more difficult than I thought. Yeah, let's see. Oh, this is what made the noise.
Again, I think that's why I basically just started buying kits and being lazy, because you just buy the kit that's for the game you play and paint it, and then that's it done. If you're feeling a bit creative, you could modify it slightly. I even feel like lately, and I say lately, but I mean like for years now, I've even struggled just painting anything other than copying the box art, essentially.
Yeah.
Like I've got 20 dwarves sitting on my table right now that I'm trying to paint. But I'm trying to paint them in a way that goes with the other army I have and isn't the way I remember seeing the pictures. So I've got like a third of the way to basing them all, like just block colours, and I'm looking at them going, I don't like this, but I don't know what to do with it.
Can you pass me my pit spray?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, dwarfs. Like 20 almost identical plastic little men with shields and axes. But they're older sculpts, so they're not the best. I feel like I've been kind of spoiled as well, because when I look at people who love like all the old Hammer stuff or all like the original fantasy stuff, it's like all the metal models that are really weird and like almost cartoonish, and they look great when people paint them up and stuff, and people really love them. I've got a drawer full of like old metal models and stuff, but every time I look at them I think about how to paint them with details that are like mushed and they're not so defined, and then I think about the nice clean fancy plastics that I buy now, and it's like I don't know if I could even manage to.
So here's a small, very small, this is the smallest part of a large box full of garbage. But like, so this is, for example, we've got a tennis ball that Steph tore in half and ripped the skin off of. This is like for an egg timer. It's like a piece of plastic. We got some milk caps. We got the lids off of some salt shaker containers. This was from like hand soap or something. Got like a SD card, piece of plastic, like a Kinder egg. We've got popsicle sticks. We got hundreds of those. This is just to remind us that, oh yeah, we have popsicle sticks. Like wipes, the plastic thing that comes off of wipes containers. So these are just some of the little bits. Like this is a demolished nail, what's it called? Nail brush. But I figured like maybe some of these like little bits we could tear out and use. And then, like similarly, like I stole a lot of the zip. No, that's not it. This is cool too though. This has a cool texture. These are like the bottom of like frozen corn bags, but I stole the top of a lot of these because they've got like what's it called? Like the Ziploc kind of thing, but not Ziploc because that's a brand. But those, they have like a really cool texture to them. And it's basically like a strip of plastic. So, we've got like mesh from little bag things. Elastic bands. These are pieces from like a wicker. What is it? Wicker? What is it called? Anyways, this is from zip top. That would mean, yeah, resealable. These are just like basically bits of wood off of a basket that's slowly disintegrating. The little plasticky paper and like plastic thingies off of scallions. Like these are the kinds of little bits. Like straws and tinfoil and where's that one? Oh, there's some of the cardboard from
Wingspan?
Huh?
Wingspan?
No, this is from Nintendo Labo. Where's that? There is a tin in here. This one? Is this one? Yeah. This one is just full of all the different plastic, clear plastic with color. Was it Quality Street? Yeah, these are all the Quality Street little plastic things. So we could have like a little window or a little headlight or something that's got a different color. But we have an entire box of all sorts of things. Including like egg cartons and paper tubes and cardboard and like just like plastic. So what kind of thing were you thinking that you want to build? Do you know yet? You said the tower thing or the fantasy thing, right?
Yeah, but I don't really know
Are you more looking for the bits first? Yeah, it's because I keep standing up and facing the other direction. Hey, pessimistic snake. Did I say hi, weatherman? Hi, weatherman. Are you thinking you more want to play with the shapes before you figure out what you want to do?
I honestly don't know. Like, that's what I keep saying. There's like so many
Options
and possibilities that you could follow.
Pick one. That's the point. Pick one. I think I might need this one for one of mine. Or one of the ones like this. I don't know if I want to do one part or two part of my two-part idea. I'll talk about some of my ideas. Unless you want to talk about your thing. You can dig through garbage while I talk about ideas.
Yeah.
Alright, so my list. Let me look at my list for reference. Blindfold both of you, get some PVA build stuff. That's what Tim says.
That sounds bad.
That sounds terrible. Start with a turd of an idea and then polish it like there's no tomorrow, says Lagamove. This is also one of the tests Steph did where he took a soy sauce canister and like sawed it in half and then like spray painted it just to see like how the paint would behave and stuff. Because that's the thing is basically every different type of material is going to behave differently. And some things you're going to need to protect with a base layer so that it doesn't like swell or doesn't like melt or you know, stuff like that. I don't know what that means, Ollie. I need my mouse though. Yeah, so for some of the concepts here. Hello, Sibylis. Basically, some of the ideas I was trying to come up with were related to gameplay and like trying to make it so that the terrain actually has a reason to be on the table. Because that's the thing is like, hypothetically, we're building this terrain for like Warhammer or 40k, right? Hypothetically.
Essentially.
And with those game systems, you know, a lot of the terrain that exists right now is either like it gives partial cover, full cover, or like you can walk around in it basically. And that's about it. And there's not a lot. Oh, art of polishing mud balls. Yeah, that's true. Hypothetically, yeah. So some of the ideas I was coming up with were trying to like make something interesting gameplay wise. What's up?
I'm just listening and thinking.
So the concepts I've already told you about these, but the one I might end up doing is having some kind of like underground tunnel entrances. So it's basically there could be two things. So you could have like a sewer pipe or something somewhere, and then you could have like a grate or something somewhere, and they'd be two separate objects you could put on opposite sides of the board. And basically you could have like a house rule kind of thing to be like, okay, like you can enter the tunnel to like get to the other side, but like you take, you know, X amount of like damage, or like it takes X amount of turns, or, you know, like it wouldn't just be like, oh, well, you're fucking cheating and getting across to the other side of the board really easy. What the fuck? You know, like, so you'd have to think about it gameplay wise, but I think it would be really interesting because then it's basically two relatively small, you know, like maybe just bigger than fist sized kind of things. So it's not too much to store, but it kind of gives you a lot of different like gameplay options. So, and then basically it means that most of the like the concept is just left up to your imagination. So instead of like making an entire like sewer diorama, you just make like an entrance, and you're like, oh shit, like you have to imagine like the sewer that they're going into, right? Yeah. Basically, it's like under the board, basically, kind of taking what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, like so kind of working with the fact that you are limited to the tabletop and trying to work around that and come up with interesting, you know, things to things to make it more interesting. So also hypothetically, one of the other ideas was like waist high blockages or something, because I think you were saying that a lot of the stuff that blocks fire is either like super tall or super short, or like you don't get cover or you do get cover, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird kind of grey areas and stuff that they keep trying to make clearer, but people keep manipulating and causing issues.
So I thought like just something waist high blockage, same thing. It would be something, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be like a hedge. It could be like a ruined car or something, but like if you make something that's like a shorter kind of thing, then you could put it anywhere in the map, on the board. And you could, same thing, like you could be like, okay, so this only provides this amount of, like you can only have this many guys hide behind it, or, like that kind of thing. But it wouldn't take too much to store, relatively small, and something achievable to make, I think. Similar to the tunnel idea, one of the ideas I had was something that would cover the entire width of the table, so you have to go over it or under it. So same kind of thing, like it could be like a hedge, it could be like a blockade, it could be like a downed tree for all I know. It could be like a radio tower that's fallen over or something. But basically just something long and thin, maybe made up of multiple parts. This is something I'm probably not going to do right now, but it's like just one of the concepts I came up with. And the thing with that is then you could have like ramps or something that you can put on it, and those are like separate. Or you could have, same, you could have like the tunnel entrances and put those on either side. So it's like you literally can't get across, but you have to cross at the one spot, Just trying to think of interesting ways to make it so that the table's more interesting, I guess. Control points, cache of supplies, those are both similar kind of things. Just like something small, and instead of this being used for like changing how you move and where you hide, this would be like something you want to control, or like capture. Ramps for vehicles, same kind of thing, but like just the idea that even with terrain you already have, like you could be like, oh, I'm gonna make like a ramp that works with like something I already own. So it's like something you can like put on maybe a terrain you have, but you think like, oh, I could use a ramp on this side, but it's like not something that has to stay there all the time. I think like hypothetically, as far as height wise, another idea was like having like a high point that you could snipe from. Something that, you could only use for certain types of characters, or like there's a high danger to it or something, like high risk, high reward kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So like, oh, there's like a chance it gets hit by lightning or something, depending on whatever you're going to do. The one that I came up in jest, but I thought was actually really funny, was an orc gas station, like a lemonade stand. Where basically because they believe that gas comes out. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't actually, like, because that's the whole thing with orcs, right? If they believe it works.
Oh, that's the original kind of lore to the stuff that I prefer to like pretend.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's only what I know. I don't know the new shit.
Well, basically just to simplify things, they tried to make it more that it feels like it's that way it works because their stuff's so simplified, but it's mainly just because humans and whatever else are so advanced that their stuff seems so basic that it doesn't make sense to them that it should work.
Right.
So like the fact that this wee piston moves forward and like, triggers something which then fires, to them is just like dumb. So basically orcs just believe so it happens. It's like, no, they just have a more basic fundamental understanding of things. Right. I prefer to think of it as everything the orcs use is magic.
Yeah, like that's way more funny, especially like I was saying, like a lemonade stand, basically like, gas 5 cents or something. Like just one of those stupid like looks like it was cobbled together by someone in elementary school, just that kind of like haphazard, but it's like a gas station, but like the gas thing doesn't go to anything, or like it goes to like a cardboard box or something, like something silly like that was my idea. I thought it was funny, so I wrote it down. But like other normal between fight stuff, like vending machines or something, like even just like a trashed vending machine, instead of having like just like trashed tanks and trashed like war vehicle type stuff. It's like, oh, like you could have like something be like a demolished noodle shop, It doesn't all have to be churches and military stuff, right? They still gotta eat. They still gotta poop, maybe? I don't know. There's probably lore for that. But radar dishes, communication towers, that was something I kind of touched on before, but same kind of thing. Trying to think of things that are like kind of like a small idea that can be made more difficult, but like can also be just kind of concepted up, you know, with just like one little part kind of thing. Like it doesn't have to be huge, but you could still get the idea across with like one little thing, you know. Oh, and then dice jail. I added that later because I saw a cool picture of somebody made a dice jail for the dice that like give them bad rolls. I just thought that would be funny. Like if you made like a terrain thing that was like a you know, it could be like a water tower, it could be like a jail thing, it could be anything else. Like, but it could be like, you know, some part of the terrain, and then you're like, huh! And just like yeet the bad dice into it as the dice jail. Hey Sam. I feel like I've talked this up too much, and now I'm like overwhelmed myself. But yeah, the concept I was going to go for, personally, was the underground tunnel entrance thingy. Because it's relatively small, but I can have two different objects be part of the same build and have like very different things on them. So it kind of gives me like a little bit more flexibility. I just thought that'd be fun. Yeah. And you also brought over some dudes for scale, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to bring out some garbage and look at it? I can move this stuff out of the way. It's almost break time. I feel like we need like a... I can get behind you.
Which way are you going?
I'm going that way. Oh, the bucket! Plastic bits and whatever else that we're thinking of using in, and then have them, you know, we can keep them kind of separate. Not easy enough to wash if they get mucky.
Some.
But yeah, this part is in my definite interested in using pile. I think a lot of these parts, they're like so small, you'd have to like think about these later. I think we need to work at the bigger bits first. Exactly. What's in that one? Oh, that one's that one. Ah, yes.
I think there's any interesting ones. Just all basic stuff.
So we've got things like egg cartons, we've got like some of this kind of plastic because I thought it might be useful to do like flags or like, you know, any kind of like sort of, you know, just lay the plastic as if it's fabric and then kind of spray it in place kind of thing. Because it's, you can fold it and crunch it up and it, you know, kind of keeps its shape. We got the bag from the Japanese snack thing. The same kind of thing, you know, just like different types of textures and thicknesses, and I'm just pulling out some of the weird stuff in this one. I'm not going to pull it all, but like little foam bits. You know, same kind of thing. Like we can use some of these things for like filling in gaps or adding texture or all that kind of stuff. And this box is mostly cardboard. I think that's more of a, once we know what we're doing, figure out the shape kind of thing. Yeah, boxes, 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 tubes. Oh, some plastic at the bottom. Oh yeah, this one. This rice package actually has like this cobblestone kind of texture, and I think if we like sprayed it or something, it might keep that still, because it's been in there for like months and it hasn't left that, or it hasn't lost that texture. So it could be like something to keep that texture with.
I'm sure once it was glued onto something, it would pretty much stay.
Yeah. The egg container. But these ones, it's just like they just have interesting, you know, like different kinds of shapes. Like this shape's on the side here. You know, this shape here. You know, the thing is, we're not going to use all these things as a whole. As a whole. Asshole! We do have some of the wingspan bits in here. Is this one? Yeah, some wingspan bits. So, yeah, but this one I think is mostly going to be... Once we know what we're doing, we can get like a big old, you know, Monster box or Cheerios box or something and use that to make the pieces we need. So I think that box is the box to be going through. What? Oh yeah. How did that get over there? This is a little weirder shit. And I like a lot of these because they have interesting textures and stuff. You know, we've got like, you know, canister tube type stuff. We've got some destroyed gloves from gardening, but they've got some interesting, like the fabric that could be used, or some of the texture here from the gloves could be used for something. It's kind of hard to like illustrate how much garbage we have and what we're supposed to do with it, because I don't fucking know. That's what this stream is supposed to be. This stream is supposed to be, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to use these parts. And then next time we have less to worry about and we can just start gluing shit together. I guess my question for me is I need to think of what round shape thing do I want and what tube shape thing do I want to start off with. Like this could be an option too. Got more of these too. That also might be a thing. I like the shapes on this one. It's cool. Would that be like a tall enough tube for somebody to walk into?
Probably. I mean, that's roughly your generic guy size.
Hmm. I feel like that would be like a reasonable size kind of thing. Well, this one's a little bit bigger, right? It's possible. What's another tube? Do we have any other tubes that we can look at? They're easier to cut. This, I wouldn't have to cut that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that even? It's like slightly larger. Could even do something like that and use it for texture. I feel like any of those would be suitable. This would probably be too small. Because I'm like hypothetically thinking like would there be special rules like, oh, only the big, you know, the big guys can't go in, or, you know, like...
Well, there's already certain like size rules for models in like transports and stuff, so it would make sense that there might be restrictions on what kind of infantry or whatever can move through the sewers and stuff.
Yeah. making all of the noise. I'm trying to dig out some of the weird little bits from the bottom of the pile. I'm sorry, it's so noisy. Oh, I need to sit down. That's a lot of stretching. Whew. But yeah, I've also got like this little bit, which is slightly bigger. We've got, like, this is too small for what I want. We've got, I liked the idea of this one, you know, being used for like some kind of multi-part thing because we've got all these bits. But especially like this is cool because it'd be cool for like any like multi-window thing. I know some of these have letters or whatever in them, but you could cover that up or, you know, like obscure that. Same with these. Like these are like blueberry containers. They've just got some really cool, it's hard to tell when they're all stacked. You know, they've just got some really cool like texture to the plastic and like little, was it gussets? I don't know. And the same thing, like you can just cut that off and use that. Like you could wrap that around something else. Yeah, this one could be the bathhouse. I think that's what, ow, Dave said. But like, look at the cool texture on that. Like that looks cool. I like those corners and like just these bits here. This one's very cool. This one's also got a really cool, this would be good ASMR. It's got a cool bumpy texture. I don't even remember what that one was. I think it was like slices of meat or something. Alright. I feel like this would be more like a big silo base or something like that. Or like a fallout shelter or something. Like something like big. This one, it is kind of like a D shape, but I could see that being like a base for something, like a manhole type thing, but could also be like a tunnel entrance kind of thing, because it's kind of flat on that side. That actually might be interesting if you used, should we be concerned? Should we check on that noise?
It sounds fine, at least. It continued.
But you could take these parts off and then basically have like each of them be the side like of a mountain or something, and have like a tunnel, like a driving tunnel through it or something. I guess it's probably too small for most tanks and stuff. It could be like an access tunnel or something.
Yeah.
You know, like tubes and shit. You just have like pipes and stuff going in there, and have that be like the like access at the bottom of the building or something. Like just have this as part to like imply the shape and size of the interior. Let's just look at one of these. I don't need all of them. I can just look at one of them. So look at these. These are both similar in shape. This one has a more complete circle on the top area. I also like these like bumps and stuff. Like some of these other bits are cool. Not just the center part.
Mm. My thing with like these kind of things is they've got a lot of interesting shapes and textures and stuff, but how do you protect that if you're turning it into scenery so it doesn't get crushed?
That's true. You could put some like air dry clay or something in there. Like underneath it.
Yeah.
Depending on where it is in the build, I guess, is whether or not it needs more support.
Yeah.
There's also... Just like lid stuff. That's a cool window because it's fully plastic and doesn't have anything written on it. You just have to like get the glue off of there. That'd be a cool like submarine window or something on something, you know. These are both that size. Just trying to think of like the size I would want to do for like a in-ground kind of, you know, not the, because basically that's the thing is I was thinking like having one side basically be like a tube that has like ooze coming out of it that's like, you know, into a little hill or something, you know, so that it kind of cuts off the end of it, or even just has like a flat back, and put it on the side of the board, and then have the other side be like a manhole kind of thing. I feel like this is closer to the size I'm looking for, but I could still use some of this texture, you know, like cut this out, put that, put this, put them all together.
Yeah.
To use the kind of different textures.
Yeah, my brain just keeps looking at all the different individual bits and try to think how you could use each bit, but not coming up with an actual structure.
Just pick an idea and then just that's your starting point. Because the thing is, I know for me, like I have two generally circular starting points, you know, where it's like, I don't know which piece I'm going to use, but I'm going to need one of these pieces, maybe. And then both of the builds I'm trying to do are both very small scale. So I'm not trying to do anything ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they're both going to be relatively easy to store as well. Like they're not going to be huge. Put some things in my maybe bin. You can have some of these things that I'm using, or that I'm putting in my maybe bin too. This isn't like a, only I get this. This is just like a, you know, save us time later to be like, oh yeah, that was the thing that I thought was really cool. You know? That might be the sound of pixie. No. Can you move that? Thanks. Oh, Tim. Thank you. Yeah, it's nearly break time. Like this is a good, like, more bigger kind of, like you could put that on something and have it be like one of those military mesh things.
Yeah.
Or if you could get it the right way, like it might be a good, like bigger kind of chain link fence. Like if you had it like in a way that made it so it sat and looked more straight, you know? No, this is more like these ones. This would be more like a smaller. This would probably be closer to the kind of size you'd want for a chain link fence. It's hard to tell because it's doubled. Eh. There's this one too. Garlic bag. Oh, I like this one even more. Put these as possibles. Break time. Alright, we're going to take a break and we will be back.
Thank you.
Alright, we're back, but I still want snack. How's it going, Steph?
It's good.
I don't know if I can actually eat snack. My throat hurts.
That's what happens when you're carrying all the conversation.
Yeah, it hurts.
Hey, chat.
Chat's quiet. I think most of this stuff is too small for what I want to do. I think part of the problem with what I want to do is that it doesn't actually involve a lot of shapes.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably help if I was trying to make like a ship or a tower or a thing. And I'm really trying to make 2 circles that are hidden in dirt. Right? There's still room for creativity and stuff, but it's just... most of the bits we have saved aren't really going to help me.
Yeah. Well, yes, when we started, I was saying, like, there's obviously sci-fi or there's, like, fantasy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But given the shapes and textures for a lot of this, it feels more like it's kind of sci-fi-ish.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing really organic or anything that could fit with more, like, natural or fantasy.
Well, that's the thing. There's not really a lot of organic garbage. You can't, like, organic shapes in this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's, like, some, but it's more things like, you know, like, this is kind of the organic shape you're getting with those kinds of shapes, but it's like, what are you going to do with that? Feels very sci-fi.
Yeah. It's like more alien.
Yeah, alien organic, but it's still, like, you know, less square shapes, more rounded edges.
And so that's kind of one of the things I get really annoyed at when I watch those videos and stuff of people making things.
Yeah, because it's like, well, just do this. And you're like, well, yeah, but you have everything you need to make something amazing.
It's like, I saw this and decided to make this entire, like, city hab block. And it's like, okay. But then even the people who buy the kits and stuff like that, when I see some of the things they see or they decide to do with those kits, it's like, how did your brain come up with that? Mm-hmm. It's like someone buying a jigsaw puzzle and making it into a 3D sculpture that still works. It's like, how does your brain, like, work? Mm-hmm. I see a box, it's a box.
Oh, I've got some possible tubes, some possible tubs. I think if I was going to use these, I think that's one of the things I need to kind of decide is, like, what? I feel like this would be the easiest to, like, cut. And we do have multiples. Hypothetically. Could use one for the other, like, base or something. But this thing is, the other side wouldn't be that. This is too small, I think, for that. Oh, jeez, sorry, microphone. I think this side would be better for the in-the-ground one. And I think that the bigger one would be better for the other one.
Yeah, I think my brain's just...
overwhelmed?
Partly. I think it's just kind of got itself stuck on a very simple concept but doesn't know how to process or deal with it.
Mm. I was thinking too, if we cut this, then we'd have this cool metal part to use on something else. But this is basically the same as this, so I could just use this instead. I'm not actually that far off in size. It just seems bigger. One of the things I'm thinking of are like not the right scale or whatever. That could be cool. Well, it's got like these parts you could use as like little beam things.
Yeah. My brain was also trying to work out like how some of these things would work as like molds.
Mm.
But I feel like that would just make things more complicated than they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone in the chat's wondering, I'm sitting ripping apart these things to see what's in them.
Treasures and prizes, I think.
Another one of those things of how the hell did people design these?
Hmm.
That was the kind of issue I had when it came to like drawing and stuff, Mumsy, which is why I basically gave up.
Yeah, I'm
like I can picture myself making stuff, drawing stuff, or whatever, and it always looks so easy and works out in my head. But then trying to actually do it, my brain and my hands don't like to talk to each other.
Well, I think that's the thing too. Is basically what it is that your skill to visualize is farther along than your skill to actualize.
Yeah. Like leaf.
Well, everything takes practice and time. I feel like this could be a cool little fan for you. This little shape here.
Mm-hmm.
There's also two of these. At least two of these. If you wanted to use this one.
things really don't want to come apart.
Yeah. This one might be good. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, part of my problem is I have trouble even visualizing anything.
Hmm.
And then even when I do, like I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is what I want to do. Like maybe not visualize it, but I can imagine what I want to do. And then yeah, similarly, I don't have the skill or the knowledge to actually bring my idea to life. That was very loud, and I'm sorry. This actually has very similar rings on it. Yeah. Oh, it got you in the face?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you made the funny face? I'm liking this bottle. That's the thing too, is like how would I even end off that tunnel? Or would I have it just go down or imply that it goes down? So that I can kind of do like something on the back of it instead of making something weird. Like have it come out at an angle kind of thing even. I feel like it would be a lot easier if I was just trying to make like a building. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like by trying to do something very simple, I feel like I'm making it more difficult for myself because it's like, what? What do I do?
I mean, well, that's basically the issue I was having because my brain just kept telling me to make like very simple fuel silo or something, just because it's literally 2 tubes or whatever, just vertically and then
Put
on a
gubbins.
base.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think one of the most impressive videos that I've seen that you shared was the guy making Howl's Moving Castle out of garbage. And like,
I've watched that video so many times.
how like did he get it to look almost perfectly like?
And even when in the middle, he's like, I'm basically making up all of this area because I can't.
Yeah.
Like it's different in every shot. I can't. Like there is nothing to go by.
And yet the final
And it looks
result
fucking amazing, and
it
you're
looks
like,
it's a
what?
3D printed sculpture or something. It's like
Right? I've watched that video so many times. You can blame that video for me wanting to do this. The problem is, once again, I'm like, oh shit, like I do not have the skill to do this.
Like I've seen plenty of videos and stuff of people doing things and making simple like urban rubble ruins and stuff like that because it's just what everyone does at some point during the hobby. I just don't. I don't know. It's weird. Like it's part of the hobby for me that I know a lot of, especially older people have done because the kits never used to be what they are.
Yeah.
And I feel like I missed out on a lot of the kind of nostalgia and stuff from the original, well not the original, but like the older stuff because I got into it just as it was like, I feel like I'm in that very awkward phase or position in life where I was around kind of like when stuff started happening, like even tech and stuff like that, but not far enough into it to actually have it like inbuilt my entire life, so I don't really care. And
You don't have the nostalgia, but you have all the awkwardness
Yeah.
of the in-between phases.
Because it's like people who are like completely obsessed with tech right now. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but I don't really care. But I don't remember living long enough without it to like not like it or hate it or whatever. Like it's useful and stuff. And I feel like, but even when I look at like, because I've got a book in my room that has like very basic make war game terrain. It's like bridges or fields or carpet or rugs and stuff. And it's like, yeah, this is all cool, but why do that when I can build a kit or buy a kit?
Well, it's the same thing with like Lego and stuff, right? You get a lot of that kind of stuff where it's like it's easier to just buy a kit and build it than it is to be creative and actually try and think of something to build without instructions. I think you're kind of in those two situations, you're wanting something different out of the experience, you know? It's like a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't understand Minecraft, I don't understand why it's popular and stuff. And it's like, yeah, because you're probably looking for a linear experience that tells you what to do the entire way. And that's not what that is normally.
Yeah, that's definitely my issue with Minecraft. Like, there's a lot of options, even Redstone in its own. But there's like no main story, really. There's no reason to do things, there's just the option to do them.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's called the sandbox genre.
Yeah.
Because you just play. You just do whatever you want.
I think I played it enough for like 2 years or something with Crazy, and basically that was it. I got what I wanted out of it, and I don't feel the need to go back.
I think for me, it's more of a vehicle for, you know, hanging out with other people and stuff, and like just expressing a certain type of creativity.
Yeah.
Like it's sculptural for me when I'm like doing builds and stuff, you know. Like I get to build like miniatures almost, you know, miniature buildings and stuff.
You're definitely creative enough in it to keep me watching. Just not enough to make me want to play.
Oh wow, I gotta be more creative to make Steph want to play with us again.
No, because then you've already done it, so I don't feel the need to do it.
I'm reassessing this part. I'm like, if I used this part, could I use that to like basically make it so that it's like the entrance, and then it like if I cut that at like an angle kind of thing, make it so that it looks like, you know, so that it's like, say this is slightly raised, cut that off, put this at an angle, and then it could have like, you know, something around it like a hill or a shack or a fence or something, but like still have a relatively small footprint, but imply that the tunnel is going downwards kind of thing.
See, I like Terraria, but again...
Once you've done it, you've done it.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of interesting to, like, start up, but then once you start getting, like, the gear and then you're fighting the same bosses, it's like... a lot of the games, for me, apart from Pharaoh, for some
I was going to
reason,
say, apart from the one game.
but I think Pharaoh's different because it takes so long to get through certain levels, so you kind of... By the time you've got like to the end, you've kind of forgot how it starts up and whatever. But yeah, a lot of games, especially like crafty ones and stuff like that.
Can you toss that for me?
It's very much. I've done it once. I don't really feel the need to do it again.
Well, it's like when I was growing up, my cousin famously. He always wanted to see all the new movies, but he never wanted to watch a movie twice. And it was like, back in that fucking day, like the price of VHSs and shit, price of going to the movies, like it's like, no, So they ended up just paying for like all the expensive TV channels, and it was the same cousin that had like the Sega channel and stuff. So basically every month there was well, that's the thing, it wasn't a TV channel. It was, you played on your Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, whatever you call it here. Bring it to you. You show off some of the bits. Come on.
That's why I've been putting them
No,
here.
they can't even see them. It's in the tiniest corner.
Some of them still work.
But the Sega channel was something you play. It was basically an internet. You connected your Sega Genesis or Mega Drive to the internet, and then every month you would get new games that you could play. Like, you had to have online access, and then you could play these new games on your Sega Genesis or Mega Drive.
So basically,
it was like a subscription plan to play games that you don't own, but you only get to play for a month.
no, see, that seems kind of shit if you don't play them for a month.
But that's the thing, like, fucking back in that day, it was like, holy shit! Like, it was amazing, because you got to try all the games, and instead of, like, going to Blockbuster to rent a game for a week, you know, you basically rented a bunch of games for a month, and if you like them, you buy them. Hello, Super Bubble and Nisa. I think I might not have said hi. I'm gonna put this down. But yeah, like, his whole thing was basically, I only want to watch a movie once. And that was back in the day when literally there was nothing else to do as a child. You're like, what else am I gonna fucking do? Other than play Imaginary or, like, watch movies over and over again. So we thought he was crazy. But that's the way it is nowadays, where it's like, you don't need to watch anything more than once. There's infinite media coming at you from every direction.
Yeah, but some movies are worth watching more than once.
Yeah. But you're saying the same thing about games, is you're saying you don't want to play them more than once.
It's not that I don't want to, it's that I just, if I've played it once and there's not really much to hook me in, then I really don't feel the need to.
Oh, Super Bubble's been lurking.
Plus I find that a lot of video games as well that aren't so Minecrafty end up just really pissing me off.
I know a lot of people like to take the piss every time I play a game that has crafting in it, and it's like, I enjoy that, as long as it's not a shit game.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like, obviously, yeah, I don't like it when they just shoehorn in crafting and be like, it makes it fun. It's like, no, bad. Spritz you with the water bottle. Like, this is not how you make video game. But that's the same as anything. Like, oh, well, it's roguelike, and suddenly it's fun. It's like, no, you just made your game worse. Like, you know? Oh, fuck, I complain so much about video game design these days. Like, so much. I should have just got into game design like 5 years ago. I would be the fucking next concerned ape. I released Life in the Woods before Stardew Valley came out. And the only thing anyone knows about is Stardew Valley, and everyone's like, oh, Stardew Valley likes, and Stardew Valley like rebooted this whole generation of farming games, and I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it really annoys me when people like pigeonhole games to one specific one.
Yeah.
And it definitely feels kind of generational, almost.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because people will be like, oh, well, Stardew Valley, and it's like, well, Harvest Moon, you know, and it's like, well, okay, fair. Stardew Valley is literally a Harvest Moon clone, but you know, like, it's because those people played the Harvest Moon games that they know about it.
Yeah.
If they didn't, then they'd be like, oh yeah, Stardew Valley. No, I think a lot of it too is just the reductive manner that we all talk about all these things, and the way people are always trying to explain something in the shortest period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why people say it's like Dark Souls, you know? It's not because they're trying to be assholes, it's because it's just easier to say it that way. It's faster.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying, or what I meant was, I get annoyed when people try to define it as something else instead of the genre of gameplay. Because that's their like preferred game or whatever, so everything's like a rip-off of their favourite game.
Yeah. I think... Do you want me to mute? No? You good? Part of my problem with that in general, and is a fair thing as well, is people being like, oh, well, all the genre names are bad anyways, because most of the genres literally refer to another game. So a Metroid-like, if you don't know what Metroid is, means nothing. Castlevania-like Or Metroidvania means nothing. Like roguelike means nothing unless you have that, you know. But I mean, obviously things like roguelike especially are so divorced from what they used to mean. Then people just get pissy about like whether or not that's accurate. But it's like, God, what was it? Fucking Let's Fight a Boss. One of the episodes, John kept trying to kept trying to say that instead of Metroid-like, he kept saying corner scratchers. And that made me like physically uncomfortable. He's like, yeah, it's a corner scratcher. You know, you go in all the corners and you scratch them. And I'm like, you're right, but also I hate it. And it makes me physically like, ooh, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. But you know, like just trying to communicate shit. This is so weird. That's the thing. Like it's more. I feel like it's fair still because it's the same as any other word. You need to know the definition of the word to know what the word means, and we always are learning new words. So even if you just say like a Metroidvania, you'd be like, what the fuck does that mean? It's like, oh, it means this. And then you know what the word means, you know? Like, I don't know. Yeah, language, communication, meh. Yeah, I have such a shit memory that I can, like, that's why I rewatch, like, cop drama shows. Because most of the time I don't remember anything that happens.
I wish my brain worked that way, but my brain only seems to like to forget information which is kind of important to remember. Whereas when I watch things, or it takes me a couple of minutes to think of like shows and stuff like that, I can basically, if I've watched it, if I actually paid attention to it, I can basically remember it. And it's kind of annoying because I don't get to enjoy things like that. But yeah, someone could basically like ask me or get mad at me for forgetting stuff, and I'll have literally no memory of ever being told it.
I mean, yeah, I have just shit memory issues in general. It's an interesting piece.
I tried to pull apart the ones that were like
bigger,
different.
Oh, so we have like an idea, so we can see like, oh, like some of these are just literally guns.
Yeah,
this is just literally a gun. Like this would be really cool for like a missile array or something, right? Like some kind of like big cannon type thing that's just like, right?
Yeah.
Right? It looks like a piece of shoulder armor. Yeah, Mumsy, I think that's the thing for me is a lot of the stuff I've been rewatching and stuff, it's basically because I don't want to think about new things. I don't want to have emotions. I don't want to react to something. I want noise to keep me company and stop me from thinking. It's a cool piece. I keep looking at things off camera. There's also this one. I don't know if this one's better for that kind of thing because it's
different shape though. I'm just looking at this one because it's really square. But
my throat's killing me. I'm gonna put my lozenge back in. I have regrets. What was this one? Oh, that one has too many bumps. Like down bumps.
yeah, no, I feel like this one's kind of
like a shed or something.
I'm just trying to think size-wise. It's a decent kind of thing on its own, but like, what do you attach to it to make it make sense as something?
I feel like you'd have to cut it apart and then put it back together with something else. I feel like I'm not really any farther ahead with where I want to be. I mean, I kind of have parts picked out, but even then it's like if someone told me like, okay, put it together now, I'd be like, I guess that's why next time we'll just be like, all right, we just have to have it done by the end of this, so better start cutting and gluing. You know, just giving ourselves that kind of enforcing our own little thing on it. feel like right now this is kind of like the pile of things I'm looking at is some of the tubes with bumps, and then some of the tubes and
I think
lid type things, excuse me.
what's possibly be kind of messing me up is scale.
Yeah, well that's what I mean, like that's why I was looking like first to be like what scale.
I just mean like for a standalone scenery piece, it can be whatever it needs to be. But if I'm trying to kind of think of it as game board wise, because that's the problem I used to have with a lot of the terrain and stuff you could buy. Like you could buy it and put it on the table, and
but it looks dumb.
as a piece it makes sense, but as a general table setup, it looks kind of out of place because it's not. Because they definitely upscaled their ruined buildings in the last terrain release thing, which made it make a bit more sense. But it doesn't really give away the scale of the game. Plus, they made all the models bigger, so
yeah, that's the thing too. You could always bring in some of your terrain if that wasn't too difficult to show like what you're talking about. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I feel like I've set myself up for failure, but it's fine. Uh-oh, I hear things falling over. How's it going, chat? How are you doing? I've talked way too much already, and we're not even halfway through the stream. Well, it depends. I might end the stream early. Oh, be careful.
Like, I have to make a nice one. Oh, wait.
I was gonna say I'm gonna put it farther away from the microphone, but yeah.
No, magnetized. So, like, these are the industrial stuff that they sold. And yeah, it's a fairly chunky piece. And it's highly detailed.
I was gonna say the level of fucking detail, not to be like, you know.
But in games terms, it's like.
It does nothing.
And when you compare it to the size of like a model.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
There's like not much to it. And these were the older ruined buildings.
Which is tiny. That's way too tiny. Like this is supposed to be a fucking chapel.
And a lot of these ones as well, like you would get like 3 or 4 guys on top of that, but then they increased the base sizes of the models, so now you get like 2, and they'll start falling off. The pipes that they gave you, again, they kind of work, some form, but there's not much to them.
The thing is, you can stand on some of this, but most of it is just something to walk around. Also, basically,
these are their shipping containers from the game system.
Yeah.
As a model, it looks pretty cool. Like, again, reasonably highly detailed. But what are they transporting in them?
Yeah. You stand up, you hit your head. Yeah, it looks tiny. That must be, these are the older ones, right?
No, these are the ones that they still use. These are their older kits. The newer ones are, I think they're like 3 inches tall, but the newer ones are like 5.
So this is supposed to be part of like a huge epic cathedral, basically. A ruined one.
Basically.
This is like a huge cathedral and you're
'Cause
just like...
each of these sections are individual pieces that you glue together. But a box of them would basically give you like a 3x4.
And this is like one of the smaller dudes.
That's your general infantry guy, yeah.
But I mean, like, even in the game, like, there are other dudes that are smaller, but not much. Like, the base are usually about the same, right?
I think the human infantry guys are on 25s, that's a 32. So they're slightly smaller.
Okay, well, like, show me those guys compared to this door. Like,
this is a hero.
so that's, like, not even the biggest kind of dude you can have.
No, he's almost the same size as the wall itself.
Yeah.
And this is his old model.
Yeah.
So they scaled up the models a lot, and then they tried to scale up the... What really annoyed me about the game specifically, without going into a rant too much about the hobby, is this, instead of
You can
terrain,
rant for another hour and a half and just finish the stream off with that.
they scale the size creep scaled or whatever the models, and then they increased the bases because the models were getting too big.
Oh, and then they reduced the size of the play area.
Yes.
Yeah.
The tables used to be generically they would be like a 2x2, a 4x4, or 4x6 foot table.
Yeah.
And now
4x6 is the only table I ever saw.
Yeah, and I've got a game board in my cupboard that's it's a 4x6, but it's 2x2 tiles. But then they reduced it, so now the basic size is like 36 by 44 inches. So it's like a third of the size. It feels like a third of the size of the game board used to be.
3x4 or something, right?
Yeah. And the terrain's bigger, the models are bigger, the points have went up. The game just doesn't seem to scale to where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it seems weird. It seems like they're trying to make the game smaller to make it more like approachable, like heavy air quotes, but it's like not.
I think a lot of it as well was because 40k is very gun heavy, whereas fantasy you have to get into combat. But in 40k you can literally just shoot your opponent off the table in like turn 2.
Yeah.
I brought in these because these are my attempts at scratch building terrain.
That's with like gubbins and stuff, right? Like
all the spare plastic crap.
Bits off of other models that you didn't use. Yeah, that looks like a good scale. It's a dude, it's a wall that's just high enough to hide behind. So it's like a tank that was like...
Yeah, I still have some of the metal ones in a box, but the Human Imperial Guard I started collecting, but they're metal models, because at the time they were still doing metal. And this was one of the tanks I had that I didn't convert into an orc thing, so I just trashed it and made it into a scrap pile. But that's what I do. Like, it's probably very easy to do this with just like bits and pieces, but I just don't. I just chop up plastic kits. But when I'm trying to think of terrain, I'm trying to think of how to work it with this, and it's, as you can see, it's not the greatest to work
their
with.
scale is not great. But that's what I mean, is like, so you're saying, because this whole set, you've got a whole set of this stuff, and it's basically more of the same. More tubes, which these are like, okay, because you can kind of hide behind them or whatever, but it's like, you can't do anything with that.
It doesn't even really go with the other scenery kits.
You can't enter it.
No.
You can't stand on it. You can't land on it. You can't...
Like, even though the top of this is technically flat enough to stand the model on, game-wise, you wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because one, there's no way for him to get up there, and basically...
It's basically a building to hide behind.
Yeah.
But it's not a very, like, that's it. That's what I was saying, a lot of the terrain is like that, where it's like something to hide behind or something you can stand on. But even then, like, most of that stuff is like, I don't know. I feel like there could be so many more ways to make it more interesting, like I say. See you, Sam.
But, like, I've seen people make really interesting things out of these. Like, some people have used these to make, like, submarines and stuff. As,
I
like,
can totally
orc
see
scrap submarines.
Yeah.
Would never have crossed my mind in a million years to do something like that. I've seen people use them to make, like, take this piece and they've got other things to attach to the sides of it to make it look like a big generator thing. Whereas when I got this and I, like, I looked at the kits for 5 minutes and I went, nah, fuck it, glue it together. It is what it is. But it feels like they're like, I love Games Workshop stuff. I always have. That's why I find it so hard to like look at any other company, because their kits are amazing generally. Their game seems like it should be fun, but nothing works together as far as I'm concerned. And even like, I've seen people play like tournament games and stuff like that, and because of the way the game is structured and whatever, the terrain is like insanely stupidly simplified to the point where it's literally just flat 90-degree walls.
Yeah, well, yeah, because then nobody can piss around and be like, well, actually, there was a little branch that was sticking out, and I measured with my measuring stick, and my toe was behind it.
That's why I feel like the narrative side of Games Workshop stuff helps towards that, but the rules don't work with it perfectly either, because the rules are aimed towards tournament play. They're trying to make it too much like chess. But that's when I was trying to think of like, how do you work something this scale into this?
I feel like that scale would be like a bunker. Like, you could, this is the thing, you could like cut these parts and then turn it into like a little like shed or like a outhouse or something, or you could use like some of these bits and turn it into like a bridge or something. You could use it as like a, like, especially if you took the whole thickness off, you could use just some of these parts and like put it onto like card or something and use that to make some kind of like a ramp or something. I feel like you could use these edges even to make something like a dropship thing, like, because it's got those triangular bits. I don't know.
All my brain is thinking is looking at it and thinking, how can I attach pipes and stuff to make it look like it's some part of some larger machine that just feeds into whatever. But then there's nothing to connect that to anything else. It's just a weird standalone piece. It's not like a generator. It's not part of a machine. It's literally just a random thing in the middle of the board, which is where I'm struggling. Because that's what I'm saying, skill wise, I feel like 40k is really weird, because it feels like it should, because it should be taking part in, so unless it's like a bunch of trees and hills, that kind of makes sense. But the minute you start trying to add buildings and things like that, there's a lot lacking to connect it together. Necromunda stuff is like gang warfare and like the hive cities and things from the game. So they're purposely built more enclosed with like walls, and everything's meant to be inside like a factory, more than on a battlefield out in the middle of nowhere type thing.
On some random planet with some random people that live there.
So there's a lot more levels, a lot more pipes connecting things, and ladders and like machine parts and stuff, so it's like enclosed.
I feel like it's a little bit like Dragon Ball Z syndrome, or like, you know, where anime fights, they always fight in the middle of a fucking like desert with all those big rock plateaus. Yeah. And it's like, it could be any planet and anyone could live there and any military could be there, but it's just rocks. Because rocks are easier to like animate and like show, and, you know, like, so they don't have to commit to like one. They don't have to make it like, you know, themed. They don't have to like be like, oh, well, clearly the lore is that these people live here and you're destroying their habit. No, it's just there's buildings and there's walls and there's things to hide behind, and that's it.
I definitely feel like I've seen a lot more people either go in the super enclosed Necromunda underground factory style type thing, which involves a lot of things. It's very material intensive.
Yeah, a lot more effort.
Or they go the natural way and they do like desert outcrop things with this like polystyrene rocks and stuff, because it's then you've got like 3-4 big sections, but it makes sense because it looks like it's part of a large desert terrain piece.
Cohesive is what we're looking for. Yeah.
The more I keep looking at these things, it's like...
Yeah.
these should be at least half as big.
That's like a car size, not a shipping crate size. Like, that would be like a minivan, maybe, for small people. Oh, God. I'm just imagining a minivan full of orcs and somebody farts. Like, that could be a whole animation. Someone could do a whole animation of just the reactions and the, like, what would happen in that situation. I think that would be really funny. That's the problem. Like, I have cool ideas, but then I'm like looking at this and I'm like, all this stuff is way too detailed. I don't think I have enough skill or prowess or anything to make something that detailed or interesting.
That's what I mean, because the only other way to do it is to make something specifically on its own as like a kind of display piece type thing. Like it is only meant to be what it is. It's not meant to be part of something else.
Well, yeah, we're not going for cohesive here. We're going for making a piece of terrain. It may or may not be garbage.
Technically, it's all garbage.
Yes. But we're not going for cohesive here. We're not making an entire tabletop full of terrain here.
No.
We're just trying to concept out something that we can try and build and paint and turn into something interesting. That's the thing. I was looking for something to be like a bars or a grate or something, but I feel like that might be more like something I do with cardboard or something. I look stuff like this. This is bumpy. It's not the kind of grate I want. I'm just rummaging in garbage again. I'm gonna go behind here and get to this box.
Ouch.
What?
Mumsy just smacked her ankle against the metal bar under her chair.
Don't do that. You also had some gubbins in here. Interesting things to show off to the street.
Weird cone. Too long.
Wow. You said that to his face?
I would have ever talked to him.
Aww. This is also, I just thought this cardboard had good ridges on it, but I don't know if that'd be too big scale-wise for, it would be like industrial corrugated metal.
Yeah.
Too big for like a fence or something.
Yeah.
Here's something else that might be a good size for something.
The old fantasy stuff used to be on square bases, so they gave us square movement trays. And you would line them all up and it would make it easier to move like 20 guys at once. And then they went, nah, do you know what? We're just going to make you rebase all your models on round bases instead and use it as a skirmish game. So now lots of people have lots of flat, square, gridded plastic. I thought maybe it could be used as like something to glue other things onto. Just lots of plastic scrap and weird things.
Well, we're gonna need lots of plastic scrap and weird things.
Yeah, having most of this stuff is why my brain just thinks stick a bunch of other round containers next to each other and make something similar.
This is good texture too.
This is the packing stuff, isn't it?
So, it's from something. So yeah, what was the thing I was thinking? Oh yeah, I'll probably use a lot of popsicle sticks too.
Yeah.
If I do anything with wood, basically. It'll be popsicle sticks. We also have elastic bands and stuff that we can use for like cables, wires. Clunk, clunk, bonk, padong, dong, dong, der.
This is meeting call.
Oh no! I have the plastic bit on this one.
Yeah. I think the other one was still kicking around somewhere, maybe behind the desk. But this is why my brain's been kind of struggling with this whole concept ever since it was brought up. And I feel like you kind of were more free to just kind of go with whatever you were thinking at the time. Whereas my brain's been kind of caged behind
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not worried about it actually being good. I'm just trying to think of something that would be fun from a gameplay perspective. You know. Like I am trying to think of what would be good for the game. Sarlacc pit. But that's what I mean. Like I'm definitely not trying to like match the level of detail or anything in these.
Yeah, no, the detail is not so much what I was talking about, but
Rip. Drop the can.
I even ended up filling this with expanding foam just to make sure it was more rigid and see how it would work.
It's a cool fan-related shape too.
Yeah, that was one of the things I seen. It didn't really stand out until I sprayed it. Because again, my brain was kind of thinking pipes, like maybe going from there into the middle, and then having something kind of over the top that kind of blurred that line, so you only really seen the central part.
What's the plan? Should I let you go after the break and just play some Minecraft or what?
Don't know, it's up to you.
I just don't know what else we're gonna do other than
Complain about scale.
I don't know. My throat's killing me, that's all. I don't know what else I can talk about. And then you'll run out of things to talk about, and then we'll be sitting here staring at some garbage and some terrain. And be like, ta-da! Garbage terrain. We did it.
All I said to do is complain.
Hmm?
Whenever I talk, it's always generally complaining about something.
I mean, I do a lot of complaining too. There, it's behind you. See you, Mumsy. I might do a demo if I kick you out. I have some other demos I downloaded. I could do one of those. It means less creative effort on my part.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go if it makes it easier. I don't really know what else to.
Also, I mean, like, that was supposed to just be us, like, figuring out what we wanted to use and, like, narrowing down our options so we weren't overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So that we could do an actual stream of cutting and gluing things together. I don't know if either of us are at that part yet, but I think next time we'll just be like, alright, we're cutting and gluing things together, so we better know what we want to do. And just start doing it.
I feel like I'm going to end up making some kind of variation on these kind of things.
Mm.
Just with, like, the bottles and stuff.
Mm.
But
ta-da! Alright, well, I guess on the break we will be very busy disassembling this stuff and putting stuff away so that I can actually use my desk. I'll be back in a couple of minutes and Steph will be gone. If Steph's okay with that.
yeah.
Do you have anything to say in the chat before I mute so we can tidy up?
Not really. Bye.